have no idea what day it is. Back to your scheduled programming.
All right, y'all. Ready for another chapter of The Nature of Forces by me, Genevieve Gravel.
I'm so excited you're here. We're picking up where we left off on chapter 13. Remember, if you don't want to wait for me to read to you, you can always pick up the book yourself. Link in bio. It's The Nature of Forces by Genevieve Gravel. Also check out my other titles, All About Me and The House on J Street. The twins. My twins, my sweet, beautiful girls. They never knew of my visions or why at times I would become sullen and withdrawn. Hazel and Heidi ate their spiders on toast each morning together. They hiked. They fished together. They hunted and picked berries together. They listened to my teachings of Mother Nature and Father Time together. They did everything together, always. The one thing they did not do together was get along. They were now nearing 250 years of age, and they looked to be the same as they did at 20, though I had aged quite a bit. I was beginning to look as the original woman I had once complained of in my youth. I felt youthful most days, until I would catch a glimpse of my reflection. Only then would I realize just how much time had passed. I continued to have visions of my sister, whom also began to show her age, but not much, and of Paulo, who somehow was more handsome with age. It did not show on him as greatly as it had with my sister and I. Each day I showed my beautiful girls spells and potions. This stupid phone, I swear to God. We burned essential oils and thanked Mother Nature for life and for prosperities. I told fairy tales of playful little creatures and of great loves and talking animals. I told my girls tales of spirits of the dead and curses and of the malevolent. I never told the truth of Alexandria, my sister, or the truth of us as witches, descendants from the first. I certainly never told them of their father, not who he was or what he had become. I told only stories. 3 butterflies fluttered by Heidi's face as she sat in the green grass, calling to the nearby deer using a single blade of grass. A toad family was croaking softly in the distance as the deer approached her with a quiet trepidation. Heidi held her hand out to the deer and ran her fingers softly down its spine as the creature ran away into a clearing where it seemingly disappeared. She rose to her feet and began to follow the deer, who led her to a green grassy meadow that was surrounded by marigolds. Here she came across a large black spotted cat. It must have weighed 500 pounds. Its fur glistened in the sun, and its eyes glowed with the most magnificent golden Heidi had ever seen. She watched for only a moment with fascination until the creature rolled in the grass and swept its huge paw into the sky to play with the red and blue butterflies. Heidi froze at first. She was a smart girl. She knew to hide, so she hid and spied on the cat. And when she heard a low rumble as the cat sat up and sniffed the air, it had caught her scent and she knew it. She was in danger, and with good sense, Heidi slowly backed away and headed home, leaving the cat to its own. Heidi was always of a kind and giving nature. She repeatedly took the blame for her sister's drama, trying to keep the peace. She spent her time in the forest and along the beaches of the great ocean, fishing and picking berries. Like me, she always had a flower braided into her hair. She spent time in the trees, communing with Mother Nature. She didn't understand She didn't understand Hazel and her need to rebel, though she felt no ill will towards her sister, but at times pitied her. She reminded me of my father, whom I'd missed, and his absence had left a hole in my heart that never filled. Hazel sought out the peace and quiet away from the forest, preferring to stay to her room, working on one creation or another. She adored life, always working, making plans, calculating every decision. Everything had to be beautiful to behold, but not to be touched. Hazel was a drastic difference from the impulsive and sometimes naive nature of Heidi. I know she dreamt of a life of abundance. I often wondered if she too had visions of Alexandria, though I had never taught her of my home. Somehow she knew there was more out there than just the forest and ocean life, and she craved it. It was a source of tension, a source of argument between us more than a handful of times over our many years spent together. She reminded me of my sister not only in her actions, but in her appearance. I worried that her powers were just as great, and I worried that she too would let her desires overwhelm her to the point of devastation. Heidi was always staining and ripping her clothes and dragging mud into the house. Hazel hated it and would never fail to lecture her sister for her messiness. As a matter of fact, she was always complaining, or just about everything her sister did. I think they spent too much time together. Hazel often played pranks and started fights with her sister. She would create some drama or another and blame Heidi for her own misdoings. Longing of a life lived not alone, surrounded by other people, she dreamt of lands non-existent. She dreamt of experiences of being surrounded by people whom adored her. Her craving for society influenced her every action and her every word. These wishes filled her imagination as she focused on her creations of full skirts and low-cut tops, wraps, shawls, and grand hats in every color of the known universe. Expressing her fantasies through her fashion, she found her only solace, and it angered her to see her work, her hopes, her dreams ruined by Heidi. "These skirts are uncomfortable and get in the way," Heidi would defend herself from her sister's reaction to her present. I mean, all she did was walk in the house, and Hazel was on her, accused her of intentionally hurting or destroying her work. "I have to tie up the middle to climb, and the bottom's dragging the surf, pulling me down when I'm trying to fish. And these tops, they don't stay up. How can I accomplish anything when I'm always fussing with my clothes?" Heidi would try to explain, but her tone was always one of anger or frustration, and Hazel would respond to it in a louder, more stern voice until the two would be shouting at one another. It drove me crazy. Fed up and filled with anger, "Then make your own," Hazel would shout before slamming the door behind her. I wished they had a connection, the same way I'd wished for a connection with my own sister. Some dreams never come true, while some nightmares are unavoidable. So thank you so much for being here and watching. Please make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more. I will be back shortly with Chapter 14, The Nature of Forces by Genevieve. Of course, if you can't wait, that's fine. You can always pick up your own copy on Amazon. The Nature of Forces by Genevieve. There's a link in my bio. Also, be sure to check out my other works, The House on G Street and All About Me. Okay, I love you. Bye.